couple of weeks ago, I got one email from Omar, one of my viewers, in which he shared one link with me and asked me if I can make the same exact effect that I can find in that link in the Figma as well. The link that Omar shared with me in that email was a tutorial video in the YouTube in which someone was teaching how to make some mouse effect using the JavaScript. And this is basically the effect that was in that video. As you can see, we have a very simple mouse effect here, which is working like this, that we basically track the mouse movement and then connect some lines from the dot that exists in the canvas to the position of the mouse. The first time that I saw this video, I was like, why, Omar, why you're asking me to make such an effect inside the Figma? And the reason was very simple. Figma is not the best tool to make such an effect. As a matter of fact, maybe it's not even the right tool. Let me explain you why Figma is not the right tool. In order to explain you this, I would like to break down this effect first of all. So let's take another look at the video that we had. Let me play it from the beginning. You can see here that the first thing that we need to do for this effect is to kind of track the cursor position or the mouse position. This is basically the first and the most important blocker right now. We do not have any native solution to achieve such an effect in the Figma simply because we cannot track the mouse movement or the mouse position. Despite the fact that the Figma is not the best tool to make such a thing, I would like to show you a trick that you can use it in order to kind of fake the mouse tracking inside the Figma. So if you want to know how you can track the mouse movement or the mouse position in the Figma or fake it, get sure to watch this video until then. My name is Kia and here's a Kimo. Welcome to my channel. Now let's see how we can fake the mouse tracking effect inside the Figma. The first thing that I would like to explain you is the concept of it. And I would like to also emphasize on this fact that we are going to fake this effect. So we do not have any native solution within the Figma which kind of we can use in order to make this effect. And this means that there might be, I don't know, 100 maybe or many different solutions or ways to achieve the same exact effect. And this is the way that I feel kind of convenient or I feel kind of comfortable to work with. Basically, to track the mouse position, we need a grid of a small square blocks, which we can later on assign specific interactions to these blocks, which are going to trigger while user cursor are hovering those blocks. And then imagine if we can cover whole screen with this grid of small blocks. We basically can detect the mouse and cursor position. Of course, not really tracking it, but we can just say whenever the mouse position or the mouse hover a specific area of the screen, which interaction is going to be triggered. Now let's open up the Figma and see how we can make this grid in practice. I have done this many times in different videos, like the custom cursor that we made in a Figma, or the other mouse effect that I made inside a Figma. So you can watch those videos by clicking on the banner on top, or you can find the link also in the description of this video. I really recommend you to watch those things because I'm using the same technique to make those effects as well. And before we go further, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and if you haven't done yet, like this video and please get sure to share this video with the other designers in your community. These are the ways that you can support my content and my channel and myself as well. Let's just start by making our grid. So I said that we need some small square blocks. Let me just make these squares using the frame in the Figma. This is basically the blocks that we talk about. Let me just increase the size to 48 pixel. So width and height is going to be 48 pixel. This size is going to define basically at the end the smoothness of our animation and interaction, which is very important. I'm going to select the frame number 1. Let's rename it to block that we know what exactly we are talking about. And then I'm going to select this frame and remove the background color. I would like to kind of make a transparent blocks that we can see the background of the whole display as well. But let's for now add some stroke, maybe red 1, to understand which block we are talking about, or where is our block basically. Now we need to just copy paste this block and make more blocks. Here I would like to make a grid of maybe 9 blocks, one bigger square as the overall grid that we have. We can of course make this process like this manually, but I guess we all are familiar with the auto layout, and it makes more sense to use that feature, which make it easier for us to build such as stacks. So I'm going to select all the blocks frames that we have and then use combination key shift A to make a frame, and then add those blocks as a child layer to that frame and apply auto layout on it. You can see we already have the settings related to auto layout here in the properties panel. Let's rename the frame to grid. Now we have a grid frame with blocks in it. Let's also remove the gap between the blocks or the child layers using this feature in the auto layout. You need to get sure that you put the orientation of the stack or auto layout on wrap. In this way, you should not care about anything else. And when you start to copy paste these blocks, you can see that it's automatically positioned in the new line if there is no enough space in the parent frame. Let me reduce the size of the grid. And now we have a very simple grid of 9 blocks. In the next step, as I said previously, we need to add interactions to each of these blocks and kind of set the interaction trigger on while hovering. So I'm going to select all these blocks and then go to the prototype panel and click on this plus button. In this way, we basically add interaction to each of these blocks. And then I'm going to change the trigger to while hovering. Our interaction can be anything based on our need, but here in our case, I would like to kind of follow the same thing that we had in the effect that I show you at the beginning of this video, which basically is going to be the line, which is going to connect specific dot to the position of the mouse. So let's first of all add one circle, or which is going to be the dot that basically we have. And then let's maybe change the color to, I don't know, blue. And then we need a line, as I said. Let's pick up the line tool and make one line like this. We can change the color of the line to red, or I don't know, still blue. Let's increase the width of the line to 4 pixels. This way we can have a better visibility on the line as well. Let's push back this line behind the circle that we had. In this way, we will have better and pleasant visual actually. Okay, now I'm going to position this grid that we had in a way that the circle that we made position in the center of the central block in order to have a better control on all these elements that I add right now on my canvas, like this circle or the line or the grid that we have. I'm going to make another frame around these elements, and I'm going to get sure that this frame also has the same size. This frame I'm going to use in order to build my interactions. I'm going to make one component in different variants, and I'm going to use the interaction that we built for blockers to switch between different variants. And these variants are going to kind of define the keyframe of my animations, connecting the dot with the line to the mouse position. And in each keyframe, I'm going to switch the position of the line. So basically, in one of this keyframe, the line is going to be like this. In another one, it's going to be like this. And in the other one, it's going to be like this. Okay, so let me first of all rename this frame to effect. And then I'm gonna position this line behind the circle, and the length of it is going to be around 0. And I'm going to remove the fill or the background color of the effect frame as well. Now it's time to convert this frame to a component by clicking on this icon in the toolbar. And then here we are, we have our component. As I said, we need to build those different variants. So let's click on this plus button here to build a new variant. And before we go further, I would like to kind of position or kind of make this frame around the component, a different component variant that we have a little bit bigger to have better organizations. The first initial variant, I'm going to position it in the center. And the next one that I made, I'm going to put it on top here. Here in the properties panel, I'm going to change the type of the name of the properties that we built to position. I'm going to set the value for the properties for this variant, the initial variant, to default. And this one, I'm going to set it to 001. You can rename it to anything else that kind of, it can be more self-explanatory, that you can find the position or the current or correct variant easier. But for now, I'm just keeping it simple. 001 is working well. In this variant, the line that we had, which is behind this circle, should positioned in this way that one side of this line position in the center of the block that we have in the left corner on top. This is the first variant. Then we built the second variant. In the second variant, I'm going to position this head of the line to the center of the block here in the center. And as you can predict, I'm going to repeat the same thing for the other blocks that we have as well. Just right now I forgot the naming thing for the variant that we have here. I will name it to 002, the next one to 003, and then another variant here. I'm going to take this head and position it on the center of this one and rename it to 005, or sorry, 004. And let's continue this one. I'm going to fast forward this process until I have all the 9 possibilities. Okay, now we have all the variants, all the possibilities. It's time to work on the interactions of each block, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. So I'm going to select the first block here on top. And then I'm going to click on this option, which is going to select the matching layers in every variant that we have in this component set. You can see we select the first layers in every every variant that we have. Then I'm going to select on this one, which is going to give this possibility that we edit all the layers at the same time. Okay, we are good now. Then we switch to the prototyping panel here, and we already see the interaction that we made. I'm gonna set the interaction type on change to, because we are going to change the variant of this component while the user cursor is positioned in this corner. And then I'm gonna change the variant or the variant type of this component to 001. So basically from now on, it doesn't matter which variant of this component we have in our prototype. The user cursor position on this corner, this component is going to switch to this variant. So basically user will see this one. I'm going to do this for all the blocks that we have. So the second blocks, I'm going to open the prototype or the interaction that they have. I'm going to change the interaction type to change to. And the variant that we would like to see here is the 002. Let's go for the third one and do the same thing for the third one. This is a very manual work and it's very small grid. I'm going to fast forward all these processes, but just imagine if we want to do this thing for a really big grid with high resolution, like smaller blocks. It's going to be really pain at the end. Our component is ready. We have a different variant with all possibilities for this line movement. And then we have the interactions there as well. So let me make one new frame. And this is a frame. Basically, I'm going to add the component that we built inside this and then run the preview to check the design. Let's rename it to preview and then switch to the asset panel. And I'm going to make one new instance of this component. Let's set the default variant as initial variant for this component or this instance of the component. And then I'm going to make some duplication and copy paste it maybe 3 times or how many times you want. Let's run the preview. Okay, in this case, you can see that wherever we kind of move our cursor, the line is going to follow the cursor, and when our cursor is going out of the grid, the kind of component is going to switch back to the default variant. This is basically the foundation of the effect that we saw in the video at the beginning. If you remember in the original and reference mouse effect video that we saw in the beginning of this video, there were some situations that the lines are going to connect from multiple circle or dot to the mouse position. This means that there should be some overlap between these different grids that we have on our frame or on our screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position these instances of the component in a way that we have at least one block or common block between these instances. So let's align them accurately to get sure that they're in the right position. So this block here is basically overlapped by all these three components. And then I'm going to run the preview one more time. And yes, we basically have the similar effect. So this is basically the trick that we needed to build this effect. The only thing that left to finalize this effect is to just get rid of this guideline that we have for the grid. So we can just select this component, the main component, and here in the selection colors we can just reduce the opacity of the red color that we have. So we basically hide the red color, and this is basically working as we expected. Of course, you can see that these lines are not very aligned. I guess this is because we weren't so careful about the position of these lines here, so they are not very symmetric. So you need to kind of test that later on and get sure that these are very well aligned. This was the trick that I wanted to show you in this video. You can make this effect more advanced or go further developing this effect in the Figma by making the blocks of your grid smaller. In this way you would have kind of a smoother animation. Let me just run the prototype one more time. You can see that whenever we kind of move the cursor, there are some big jumps between these lines, and they are not really following where exactly the mouse is, and there's some kind of offset. The reason is because we have a really big kind of unit or the blocks or hitbox or whatever you call it. And if you make those smaller, in that case you would have more variance and a smoother kind of movement for the line, and eventually a smoother let's say effect. This is one thing. So have more blocks in order to have wider kind of hitbox or wider grid around this circle. In this way you can kind of have more realistic effect to what we had in that video, in the reference video, and make those blocks smaller. But the trick and the technique is the same, not only for this effect, but for any effect that you need to track the mouse movement. And that was it for this video. I'm still waiting for Omar to make this effect, this mouse effect, using the trick that I show you right now. That would be very amazing to see how's your experience using this trick, and I hope that you guys learned something new in this video. And if it was so, please don't forget to support me by subscribing to my channel, like this video, and share this video with the other designers in your community. Let's learn together, and see you in the next video.